Okay, awesome. Sorry for the delay. All right, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to a new year. Yay. Um, so what happened during this month? My current open tasks is basically moving half to PG 18. That's currently blocked. Well, I did most of the things except that it's blocked by ParaDB, which still hasn't released an update of PG search for PG 18. They did a merge request, which has been merged, and we are now just waiting for the release. We've been waiting for that for 3 weeks now. Apparently, it's supposed to come this week, so finger crossed, but since then, that's blocked. On the Hivemind side, a bunch of work has happened. I'm working on unifying the errors for Wax, and also I'm adding a new feature to prevent you. Basically, there's a feature on PigD that's used by some of the big communities, notably Hive CN, um, where they force you to have a set of beneficiaries in order to publish into into the community. If not, your comments get muted. And right now, the way it's done is it's only enforced on PigD, and you have to have PigD as a moderator, which is not really ideal. So I've added this as a core feature, pending testing and other things for now. All of this is working but a little muddy because the pipelines are difficult these days. Um, and on top of that, I'm also working on the rep tracker a little bit. I know for the longest time we've wondered what it would be like if we remove the requirement to have a to that you can only reduce the reputation of someone else if you have a higher reputation than them. So I've removed that, and I'm doing a full replay just to see what the current landscape would look like, and if that's a better requirement or not. I'm assuming we may be able to yield some performance benefits from it, because there's less there's less requirements. So yeah, that's ongoing, and I'll see when it's fully done.
So
That's
I have two
So
questions.
yeah, for the reputation, where's the specification for that? I mean, there were some discussions about how to handle reputation better way than we are doing right now, but yeah, that would be a very big change if we are touching it because it will
on
propagate enormously.
Yeah, it's not as big of I'm not proposing the channel. I'm not championing the feature yet. Right now, I'm just trying
You're
to
just
get.
testing it. Yeah.
I'm trying
So
to get an Excel of everything to be like, hey, this is what the landscape would look like. Is this something that looks favorable? Yes, no, and then we can go from here.
so if we did it too, I mean, there's another factor we got to consider, which is how it would be enabled. I mean, it seems like it might be troublesome to go back and recalculate existing reputations, right? I mean,
It's a
from
replay.
any number of perspectives. I mean, there's the historical one of, there's been various processes in the past that have used reputation to do things, right?
Mm.
So that would, if those reputations change, their state would be wrong.
Oh, you'd
So,
want it to be done more on a hard fork basis.
well, I don't see. It
Mm.
feels like it might cause problems if we don't, right? I don't know. That's just my first thought. Is it seems like anything that
So
depended on reputation would suddenly, its history would be wrong.
Fair enough.
when we were discussing the slight changes to the reputation, I had this idea that we can, because reputation now is just half up.
Yeah.
We can run the separate, like,
Yeah, we could have a second
reputation
reputation, I guess. Yeah.
2.0, or like, I don't know, some reputation flavors,
Yeah.
and then choose between them. So without breaking anything, we can do, well, simulations on how it will behave.
Right. And then the
As
front ends could decide what they want to
Yes, yes,
display,
yes.
for instance.
The parallel APIs that we can like ask and figure out. It's good or not.
So if we did want to switch, I think one of the things we'd have to consider is, how exactly we want to do such a transition. Yeah, a parallel new one way is like Gandalf suggested, was we could simply have two running, and we can, we could slowly phase out one or the other. That makes sense. And then of course we might just want to, if we do that, we could just hard fork at some point at which we turn off one and just the other one exists. It's not really a hard fork, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's sort of a set time at which we switch. I had another question. I didn't quite understand the part about the community completely. I understand that there's some community that's using some kind of beneficiaries algorithm, but I didn't get the specifics of how it works.
Long story short, it's like, hey, in order to post to my community, you need to set 5% beneficiaries to, let's say, a common community post.
Okay.
And if you don't, then we're going to mute you. And
okay, so it's like the community raises money for internal activity through its posting.
Pretty much. And right now the feature has seen some success, but it's done like only on some front ends, only on PigD as far as I'm aware. And so I figured.
Okay, I understand.
And like from my implementation.
So what kind of changes need to be made to Hivemind for this? Is it just so that the posts get muted automatically or something?
Yeah, pretty much. And then tracking comment options when it happened for our community. I was afraid of the performance impact, but because we only need to track comment options for specific communities, it doesn't affect like the main red path, which is like post processing.
Okay.
Where can I read about that? Because obviously I can't see the implementation on PigD because it's not open source.
I actually don't know where I can try to find the post. I had it a while ago. This is a relatively old feature, but I can find it and send it to you later.
Yeah, it would be great to
channel.
I remember that I was referencing some super ancient documentation for the Hivemind and communities. It would be good to make some updates there to have.
That has been fully updated.
Okay.
But yeah, beneficiaries. Beyond the PigD thing, it's true that beneficiaries were part of like the very old roadmap by Roadscape. But that's been updated and it's no longer part of the very old documentation. So like users won't be confused by it.
Yes, as I remember, in Hivemind there is dedicated Markdown file describing community rules and probably all options which we can generate to trigger some changes there. So I think best is to update description there. I have also some questions related to reputation. If you have some documentations which describes algorithm changes which you would like to make, can you share it with us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the essence of it's pretty simple. It's just that right now, whenever you vote, when you vote up or when you vote down another user, if your reputation is lower than theirs, it doesn't lower their reputation value. If your reputation is higher, I suppose, or maybe even equal, I don't know exactly. That's probably not really a concern, but as soon as it's higher, it basically you can lower their reputation. That's the basic idea behind it. So if somebody has a very high reputation, no one else can. If the person with the highest reputation, essentially their reputation can't be lowered by anyone else.
What if that guy goes rogue?
Well, that's happened, of course.
That is currently happening.
That happens, yes. And we were discussing in the past separate a new version 2.0 of reputation, and one of the ideas is to have a cap on how high the reputation can go, and then change the rule that whatever there is the same reputation for those who have reached the cap, they can affect each other. So but that requires further careful testing and figuring out the edge cases, because we can end up with the similar issue.
That being said, I'm a big fan of that. Notably because that means that for, assuming we set a good cap, the vast majority of accounts, a good chunk of the accounts wouldn't need to be calculated anymore, like most of the power users, and they would save a lot of.
Yes. That was the main idea, but there are some caveats here.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
the same
But I
reputation.
think it's
so-
an interesting idea. I think that one, that to me maybe is more sensible in the end.
Yeah, but then we are fighting like us three. So I'm the voting Dan, and then Dan can't because he's no longer at the top, and so this is the edge case here.
Yeah, I mean,
that
the
we
idea
need
would
to
be you'd
figure
have
out.
enough people at that top already, like you said,
Yeah.
that it wouldn't matter so much.
I figured we-
The
go ahead.
obvious edge case that I'm seeing here is, let's say you guys set a cap at 50 can affect anyone above 50 can affect anyone who's above 50. Then what happens is, even if someone goes rogue, that's fine, but then everyone starts, I don't know, anyone who's above 50 starts downvoting. There is no consequence of downvoting anyone anymore.
No, I don't
And-
think
and-
we quite
and
caught it.
everyone-
That's not the way it works. That's not
No,
what
no,
it
every-
works.
because-
everyone keeps their repetition low. No one is going to go above 17, because if you downvote, maybe you guys can, besides the repetition cap, also use the hive stake as a metric, as a variable.
It's
Well,
already-
you
high
have a
stake
cap,
already kind
and
of is in a way,
yeah.
because
it-
you have more power, you have more downvoting power if you have a higher
Yeah.
stake.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, a downvote from Dan is much bigger than the downvote from me, for instance.
Yes, and changing this at the very top is that we are getting rid of the extremes, not dealing,
Yeah.
because currently a lot of downvoting has no impact at all, because they don't match the first simple condition that downvoter has a lower reputation. So in case of an asshole, I mean, that's real account name. Yeah.
As a suggestion, wouldn't be, well, this is just a suggestion. I don't know if it would be better or not, but just have a upper limit cap on how much repetition can be reached, and make it like not that difficult to reach, maybe 70, 75, and then just cap it. Anyone who's on 75 can't go above 75.
Yeah, that's what he's
Yes,
talking about.
that's
it.
the idea.
That's the
You
thing.
just
Okay,
reversed what you said.
I my idea was, I misunderstood it as you're talking about the lower end of the cap, where if you reach
No,
50, then
What
you can
he's saying,
affect 70.
it caps the upper end, so we don't calculate. You don't keep getting more after a certain point. You're just at that point. Doesn't mean you can't be downvoted and lose reputation, but it's like an upper end to how much you can get.
And maybe have an overflow system, like it adds.
Well, no, I mean,
puts
so
the
let's
pads
just
up
let's
as
just
empty.
let's talk about how it works for a second, because I think
Okay.
we first just understand the idea. So say you get up to 70. So you've got the the internal. There's a big number inside that represents that 70. And anymore, you don't anytime anybody upvotes you, you don't go anymore. You just stay at that. If somebody downvotes you, you lose some, and of course, if somebody upvotes you can gain it back. So it's just like that. You can't get beyond that 70. And in this system, anybody they're going to be a lot with a lot of people at 70, so they can all downvote each other and drop each other from the 70 potentially if they have enough high power. And they can also upvote each other back to 70. So you basically get a bunch of peer guys who've got a high reputation and who can there's nobody that sits out there that basically can't be downvoted. It's more pure. It's more equal system in terms of how people can downvote each other.
Yes, because currently, for example, if the posting key of the HBD stabilizer would leak, then that would be a doomsday when it comes to reputation.
Metrics post every single hour. Okay, so
And-
quick question. What happens is, let's say Dan and Gandalf and Hobo, all of you guys get to 70, right? And then one guy downvotes, he falls to 69.6. There isn't a problem as such per se that if someone's on 70 or someone's on 65, as long as you're above 60 or as long as you're above 59, The repetition just would say it's a
Yeah,
good
so
repetition.
one of the
I mean,
ideas.
the rule would still be the same. The higher guy, you couldn't downvote. The lower guy can't downvote the higher guy's reputation. But the point
Okay.
is, you can get your reputation voted back up to 70 quite easily too, right? So
Okay.
let's just say there's just us three for some reason.
Also, one small detail, if I'm not mistaken, there is equal or higher, which is problematic. So it has to be changed, likely to be equal if it's at maximum, and that's it.
Okay. So let's say this gets implemented. So anyone who's on 77 or whatever it is will just fall back to 70. The maximum value just disappears.
Yeah, there's just a maximum value. There's the maximum. Your number is 70. That's for accounting purposes 70.
Okay. So quick thing. So curation accounts, mostly curation accounts, the ones that have tons of hype to upvote, don't have essentially repetition because they're not posting stuff. So then that becomes a completely different game. You don't need a higher repetition anymore because you are relying on curation accounts to upvote to, as opposed to the
I
old
don't
system.
understand your point. What's the?
So
I mean, reputation doesn't have the only thing reputation basically gives you is that prevents you from. I mean, other than the number that people can look at, and somebody might, rely on. The reputation functionally, most of the UIs just has the fact that if you go below a certain level, you get you get grade.
okay, no, that's I know. I'm just pointing out an edge case where let's say someone's on 70, all right, and there's a curation account that does downloads. Let's say it's Logic's account or whatever it is, right? But Logic doesn't post, and Logic is never going to get enough high repetition because he's too busy doing downward curation, right? Meaning, if someone gets to him and says, "Hey, you know what? This guy has a high repetition. He's gone rogue. We need to downvote him," and then his downvote would have zero value because
But that's the same way it works now. That's not changed.
Okay. The downvote from someone who has a repetition 50 does not affect anyone who's on, I don't know, 70?
Okay, so there's two separate things I think you're getting confused about. There's downvote of the post value, which always takes place, and there's lowering of reputation, which only takes place if you have a higher reputation than the person you're downvoting.
Okay, it's always like that. Always
Yeah,
been
this
like that.
isn't
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're just talking about the upper limit here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I had a misunderstanding about that.
No, it's two different things, so it's easy to get confused. There's the reputation, and then there's the separate value of the post. Okay.
Any more questions on that topic?
Yep. I think everybody's clear on it.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. So I guess lately I guess was pretty obvious to the last meeting. I was going to be pretty focused on the AI side of things for a little bit. So we've started to standardize on Cloud Code right now for internal development in our group. So it's been a bit of a mess, but we're getting there. I've been using it pretty steadily now for over a month now. Yes, you'll see Cloud MD all over the place. I ran one of the things I've done at this point was ran a Cloud over all of our repos and added a Cloud MD to all of them. So there is now a summary of each repos, what it is inside the repos. So when I started looking at this, one of the things that became obvious, I think pretty immediately after working with Cloud for a bit is we're going to be accelerating the rate at which we do development quite a bit. And that in turn is going to put some stress on our existing infrastructure. So that's in a couple ways the stress comes. First of all, there's just a matter of all those changes need to be verified. Of course, we got pretty good in terms of coverage of testing, but it's also very intensive in terms of computation and time. And those things are problematic when you have rapid development. First of all, we only had so much computing power. So if we have a lot of changes to the code all at once, it just overwhelms our existing testing systems. They just don't have enough time. We just don't have enough computing power. And we have a lot. Don't get me wrong. We have quite a powerful CI system, but just the sheer amount of testing we do and the sheer amount of change rate, that was going to be a problem. So one of the first things we started doing is upgrading some of the hardware. We upgraded the internal network that we're using. So we have 10G in a lot of our net system, but we did have a bottleneck between GitLab and all the builders, which basically had our network stuck at 1 gig. So we had to upgrade our gateway computer, and so that's now 10 gig. This part of this problem is because GitLab is basically open to the external environment, and we have the builders behind inside of a VLAN for security, so that to protect against attacks and things like that. So that was a fair amount of work getting all that straightened out in terms. But now we have full 10 gig connection between GitLab and all the builders. We also have been updating the builders. We added some new hardware. We now have two 9950s, which are extremely powerful machines, added to the builder list. So we have right now, we took out 3 lower quality builders that we had. Basically, one was actually just a VM, and the other 2 were lower end machines. So now the lowest machine we now have is a 3690, I think, which is like a 48 core machine, but it's older generation. So we have several of those. We've got several 5950s, and we also added the 2 9950s. So, and one of the other things I had to do was a lot of our CIs required that a bunch of the jobs run on the same system. And so we weren't getting anywhere near full distribution across the machines when we ran a job. So I implemented basically an NFS caching system. Basically, the data results of one job get tarred up and stuck on the NFS cache. And then when the next job runs, whatever computer it's on, if it doesn't already have a local copy of that, if it didn't run on the same machine and there's no local copy of the data, it'll grab the data from the NFS cache. And so basically, we have a lot of jobs in the CI testing system where the output of one job is then used by the next job. For instance, we might do a sync of half or HiveMind or something like that. And then that data is used by various testing jobs. So implementing that was quite a task, but with Claude's help, we have something that's now pretty functional. Another interesting aspect of that is that means we also have fully replayed jobs in their caches that we can look at. So when we've got one job, we make a change, we can actually go back and look at the actual replayed data of a database from a previous run. So there's new forms of debugging we can do that weren't really possible before because just of the time constraints. Another thing I've been looking at is, so first there was this caching of data, and that means we had a lot of repetition of things. So like we might be compiling in different repos the same code. We might be running replays multiple times that were basically the same data. And a lot of that, basically the first stage of eliminating that was the caching system, because basically if you've replayed half, all the repos can now use that replayed half data. We don't need to, each separate repo doesn't have to do its own half replay of that particular version of half now. A similar vein, most recently, I realized that we have a bunch of submodules that we don't really need. And those were because a lot of times there were scripts that were in like the half repo or the Hive repo. And so they had to be submodules of half apps, for instance, in order to get access to those scripts. But that causes a lot of problems just because of the sheer amount of time it takes to do a full CI run. So I've been centralizing a bunch of those common scripts into a repo we already had called Common CI configuration. And that way, that has a very fast CI. So if we need to make changes to the way the scripts run, it's pretty quick, and that we just only have to change that one repo, and then the downstream repos don't have to wait as long for those kind of changes anymore. Along similar lines, I realized we were compiling the code, Hive code particularly, in a bunch of the repos. And so instead of that, now they're going to be using that's kind of the last thing I've been working on past couple days, is they're going to be pulling Docker containers from the registry rather than rebuilding again. Let's see what else. I also, as an experiment, I wanted to see how quickly we could update the dependencies that are spread throughout our repos. One of the big ones we had is Python, and I think we were at 3.8 or 3.9, and it looked like it'd be a massive job to upgrade it. So I wanted to see how much work it really was. So I just decided to go all out and take the most, I guess, extreme approach and see if we could port 3.14. And so that has gone pretty smoothly, surprisingly, considering how many things that touches. That's an enormous number of repos, but it's just amazing how fast you can do things with this AI. So I've got it now to the point where the only thing that's a dependency that keeps some tasks at 3.12 is Pedantic. We're still waiting for the upgrade of Pedantic 3.14, but I think that's going to come pretty soon. So at that point, we'll be able to go strictly to 3.14. One of the reasons I wanted to get to 3.14 was because it has eliminated the I guess what they call the GIL, the global interlock for threading. So that'll be a nice change. Part of the driver for that is I've also been, the other big task besides speeding up CI and reducing the amount of computation has been to make it more stable. For a long time, we've had a lot of tests that intermittently fail, and this was always been kind of a big annoyance, but it becomes much more of an annoyance when you're working with AI, because now the AI, you don't know when a test fails, you don't know if it's something the AI has done or if it's just the intermittent fails that happen. So I spent that's actually the first thing I tackled, really, was working on reducing the amount of intermittent fails. It's difficult to know when you've succeeded at that task, of course, because intermittent fails are intermittent. But I think we've come a long, long way in terms of reducing the number of intermittent fails. And I think in a while we'll have all of them eliminated. But like I said, a tremendous number of them are already out of the way at this point. And then the other thing about the CI, I was thinking, let's see. So one more thing I wanted to do in terms of speed up is also reduce the amount of testing that we do when we don't need that testing to take place. For instance, if we update documentation, we shouldn't need to do a full build and test of the whole system as a result. So this is probably, I guess, the most experimental area I'm still at, which is how to modify to detect those kind of changes so that we don't do the work when we don't need to. Again, this puts a lot of less stress on our testing systems. So that's everything I've been focused on for the past 3 weeks. I would say has been primarily just this massive overhaul of all the repos and the pipelines and things like that. And I'd say at this point I'm about 90% done. The problem mostly, I keep coming up with new ideas for how to improve the system, and so then I get to a stopping point, and then I'm like, well, but I need to do this too, and so it just keeps on. It seems like, but I think we're getting increasingly close to where I'm done with all this. So that's the big thing I've been working on. I think I've done more programming work in the past 2 or 3 weeks than I've done in the past year. So it's quite amazing in a way. Anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'm not going to talk about what work the other guys have done. I'll leave that to another time. That's probably enough for now. Anybody else want to go next?
I'll give a quick update from my side.
Okay.
Right. So basically, we've been doing really minor stuff on essentially on Block Explorer UI, some fixes, some minor enhancements here and there. We haven't done much work on the half side of things recently. Hopefully down the road, if I'm able to allocate some resource, maybe I will do that. But at the moment, unfortunately, I'm not able to do this. One of the cool things I think we launched last month, a couple of versions, was a Chrome extension called Hive Pulse, which personally I really liked. I hope others will enjoy it as well. It's just basically a Chrome extension that shows you your current voting power, your RC from the from the browser toolbar. I manage a lot of accounts on Hive, so you can easily switch between front ends as well from the extension. Just go to the wallet, to the postings page, or to eSense, PeakD, ActiveIt, HiveBlog, HiveScan, whatever, just from the extension itself. We also integrated eSense's chat. They recently launched their own revamped version of the chat. So we integrated this. We integrated a side panel from the browser. So if you're using eSense, which hopefully one of the implementations of chat on Hive will pick up.
So let me get a
So-
quick question. Is this, when you're saying you added the chat, is that to Hive Pulse or to ActiveIt or both? I couldn't quite catch that.
Hive Pulse. The ActiveIt, we already have a chat there, but it's PeakD's version or implementation of chat.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I figured a cool way to support eSense's work was to just create a new Chrome extension and bundle it with a lot of cool functionality relevant to Hive.
Okay.
So I had no idea about this side panel thing with Chrome extensions. So we were able to implement the side panel, so you can have everything you're browsing, and you have your side chat showing all the time there. You can view your account stats, your RC or VP. You can see notifications coming up of any messages that are coming through. You can redirect any URL to your favorite front end dynamically. So if you want to see stuff on PeakD, you can just get it. Whatever link you try to access, you will see it from PeakD or from HiveScan or whatever front end you want. And a lot of other cool functionality. If anyone has ideas for enhancing the Chrome extension, we are more than happy to do this. And of course, it's open source. So I don't know if it might be worth it to add it to GitLab, Dan, if it makes sense.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll need to. I'll figure out what I need to do to get you a repo.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, that's just quickly some quick update from our end.
Sounds good. Anyone else want to go? Madayari, did you want to talk about the bridge stuff? I know that you just released some stuff about that, but I'm not sure if you're ready to talk about it yet. Oh, can't talk. Okay, no problem. Anyone else want to report on anything today? I know it's been the holidays for most everyone.
No, it's fine. Before I go do my thing, I actually have some questions regarding the Tensor. The first thing is, I just wanted to know, is there any VAX update imminent anytime soon? Because I checked the dist tag, and the dev is still on 1.27.6. Latest is on 1.28.4. So I wanted to know if there is any VAX update that's coming anytime soon. Because in the Tensor, you guys have an override in. So
Yes, I plan to make a wax release very soon. Actually, I tried to make it before Christmas, but was blocked by some CI problems, and then I had to disappear for the break. So I will try to make another release covering most of changes in wax in this week.
okay, is any of those going to break Tensor right now?
No, there should be not breaking changes in wax. Actually, there are some important fixes related to exception handling, which in previous version could lead to some quite strange errors. But current developed version of wax should have all such errors fixed.
Okay, and this is are you going to like put a dev version, because dev is on 1.27.6? So are you going to use a new dev version like 1.28.5, or you're just going to release it to production?
I'd like to make another full public npm release, so definitely it will be some tagged version.
Okay. So just let me know if it comes with its new name, because I'm not sure how you're doing the naming, because the naming is really strange, like -RCO and then dash and a couple of numbers. So
yes, because we chosen that to create some intermittent release candidates release, which are just have sequential numbers pointing to another versions. But I hope we should right now make just another minor release.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll just add it to the override whenever you have finished testing it or
Okay,
putting it up
okay,
there. Okay, thank
will
you. Yeah.
do.
So that's this one I wanted to ask about Tensor. I just have a couple of dates. First towards the marketing side. So I was at Breakpoint Solana, which was in Abu Dhabi. It was the biggest event for Solana, and basically I wanted to explore what's happening there. And tons of Americans, tons of people with great ideas, and they wanted to do it on Solana because the gas fee is low. So I pitched to a lot of them Hive, and a couple of them were interested. They wanted to understand, oh, no gas fee, okay, but can it handle 50,000 transactions? Same stuff that people talk about when it comes to comparing anything with Solana. Hey, can you do 50,000 transactions per second? I did cover those things. There are a couple of interesting projects, some who have applied for SEC and so on, like, but mostly cashback programs. There was a cashback program. There's a guy who's making a cashback program for truck drivers to fill diesel and get stuff back if they use the app to pay for the gas. And they wanted to use Solana for that. So it's like a couple of interesting projects, but mostly cashback stuff. There were a lot of questions regarding, hey, let's say I have a token on Solana and I want to bridge it to Hive. How would I do that? And I obviously BS'd it like, oh, there's something in the works and so on. It's nothing live yet, but hey, if you want to come and talk about it, that's something we can put on a priority, etc. But actually I did have that exact question. Do we have like a bridging thing if you wanted to do from any chain to Hive engine?
I think the answer is twofold. First of all, Matayari's new stuff is exactly that. That's what I was just asking him about. He's put links to it inside the Mattermost. You can find about it there.
Okay.
I don't know which channel do you Matayari? Do you remember which channel you posted in? Was it Dev, or maybe you could just put a link to
I
it?
think it's called Hive Bridge, Hive-Bridge.
I'm not there. Could someone add me?
Interesting posts. He said he put it in interesting posts.
Okay, interesting. I'm not there. Could someone add me there? Correct. Okay, let me type that in. Interesting. Found it. Okay. Joined it. There we go. Mahdi Hive Bridge 1.00 beta 1. Okay, I'll check this out. Thank you.
It's his last post, so you can easily go there.
Yeah, I just found.
I wish I would be there. I mean, on this Solana meeting, because it's so fun to make fun of.
Oh yeah, people. I mean, they hired bikini models, and considering it's supposed to be a religious country, there was a lot of non-religious stuff happening. And they had paid models to walk around, strut around, hold conversations, and most of the Americans that came there were just old timers, so they had a good time.
No, there's a lot of these simple questions that
can be answered.
Put them into concerns, like, hey guys, how many of you can run a full node? Raise up your hands.
Pretty much a lot of them were just people with great ideas, but zero.
Oh no! I mean,
one of the funny things happened was because these guys have been in the space for some time now. So like I said, oh, you know about Hive? Hive is a DPoS, and like DPoS is EOS. Oh man, EOS fucked me over. And then they go on trashing EOS about how bad EOS is. And then they go off on a tangent, but that was pretty much like the gist of thing. Like if you talk about DPoS and like Hive is a DPoS, like they immediately associate it. Oh, is Dan Larimer working on Hive? Like no, it's Dan Milstein, someone else. So yeah, very interesting. But the thing that I gathered was there's a significant amount of people who don't know about Hive, and when you create awareness with them, they're like, oh, okay, what's the volume? Then you send them the CMC link. Oh, it's just rank XXX. Is that a thing? And then you have to convince them, you know what, this is a sleeper thing, and this it can become very big. It's just focusing on tech. It's not focusing on, being out there creating hype, stuff like that. So that's basically the gist of things, with how it worked there. I mean, I did like get tons of invitations regarding, hey, if you can build a bridge between Solana and Hive in terms of layer 2 stuff, then we can have a conversation, because no one likes paying gas fee, even if it's a very little amount. That was like one of the things, especially like a lot of gaming projects that I talked to were saying that, hey, you know what, we as the what we call developer, or the parent of the project, have to end up paying X amount of stuff to mint NFTs, and that becomes really the cost ramp up over time. uh, and then there was the whole conversation about, there were some like node operators, and they were just complaining how big Solana is. Like, to run a full node of Solana is like a nightmare for them, because so significantly big. So that was pretty much it in terms of the general gist I got. There was a lot of specific edge people as well, but I don't think they were talking about. So that was this. The other thing is BitCub from Thailand is a centralized exchange. Basically, the biggest one there. They gave me a proposal. I'm still negotiating with them. Where can I drop that proposal, by the way? So you guys just have a look in
And
terms of
the proposal,
onboarding.
maybe, I mean, I'm the most skeptical guy when it comes to exchanges here. But
I know. I get your sentiment. No one wants to pay for an exchange where we know that there's no guarantee that will take off.
no, I mean, we don't care about guarantee. We don't pay exchanges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
I mean, the guarantee. We've
No,
been
that's
there.
fine.
Guarantee
In the end,
doesn't exist.
in the end, it's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Guarantees doesn't exist.
So it's the whole concept is wrong. It's exchanges who wants to earn money for the trades that they're doing. So it's it should be them calling. I see no reason to pay. Also, we are on the big exchanges, and we will be diluting our trades to some unknown exchange. Well,
I get that.
Yeah, we can be there for free. They don't have to pay us.
That is exactly what I'm trying to negotiate.
so-
Trying to get it done for free. Hey, you know what? Just list us, and then we can talk about marketing later on once we see some action, things, stuff like that. And that's what I'm trying to like negotiate.
Yeah, because otherwise it makes no sense. It's like waste effort to convince people to earn using your product, because it's they earning regardless if Hive goes up or down. They're earning. House always wins.
Where do I drop the proposal? Like, so you guys can have a look, or should I want to drop it in a public channel so everyone can have a look about what's happening, if possible. I'll drop it in onboarding.
No, I don't know.
Exchanges?
I mean, it shouldn't be anything sensitive, because
I don't think
it's
it's sensitive.
decentralized platform.
It's talking about how great they are. It talks about what we get if we do with them. They talk about their social media stuff. Okay, here's Gandalf. I'll send it to you. You decide if it's worth sharing.
Yeah, I can be the bad cop. I like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Last time I was negotiating with the big exchange, the CEO died in unknown circumstances.
Which exchange was that?
BitBay.
BitBay. Okay. So let me drop this really fast to you. You just have a look and let me know if it's
okay
worth anything. Honestly, I reached out to them because they're like one of the biggest ones in Thailand. So, I said, hey, we already are on the big ones, so why not try these ones? The other thing is, I also got an offer from Pionex. For those who don't know, there's like a exchange that's really built with trading bots, and they're asking for 15,000 is the last count. That they don't want any tokens. They're gonna do the market making with that money. I think that was pretty
But
much shut
that's
down.
all those talks are. We've been there and done that. This
Yeah,
is
I know.
the known scam. I mean, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to call that otherwise, but it's the same. I'm getting such offers like all the time, and it's in the end it's a similar schema as with those ask me anything campaigns that
Mhm.
you don't have to pay us for us to make you famous. You just need to spend some money on bounties, and then
Mhm.
there is like 100 bots from them getting those
Yeah.
bounties.
So,
I'm skeptical, as you can see.
it's fine. From my side, I'm just trying to do something that might help Hive. It does. If it helps, great. If it doesn't help, then I learned something. So I learned at least who's the person in charge is, or
Yeah,
who not to talk
I'll
to.
be happy to provide some feedback for the past years, what I've learned talking with exchanges. And it's like
I would love that. I
7
mean, I think one of the
years
biggest
in
issues that
that
I
box.
have is I'm working with very limited knowledge. I don't know what Crane has done or what you have done. All I know is like, oh, we have some success stories like Bioeconomy and stuff like that. But besides that, I don't have any information. So that's not shared anywhere. So the only thing I can do is just,
Yes,
I don't know, flounder around in the dark.
yeah, that would be a lot of disappointing stories, but yeah,
But,
I'm happy to help.
yeah, I mean, as long as we get to learn, I think it's worth it in the end. Maybe I don't have by listening to your series, I don't waste time with any of the other exchanges that you might have dealt with. So yeah, so that's this, and then I so I got a a team in Hong Kong that basically runs the hackathons for ICP, right, in all of Southeast Asia. They reached out. I met them in Breakpoint, and they're like, with $7,000, we can hold hackathons in any university because they have such apparently great contacts. I asked them to send me a proposal. If they send it to me, I'll just forward it. So I'm like, these are basically the conversations I had from the marketing aspect perspective. That's it for that. Moving on to the stuff that we are building. Like Dan said, you build with AI, you build so much stuff that you never built before. You feel like you've done more in months. You've done more in weeks than you have in months. I built out a whole lobby chat with WebSockets and everything that worked with Unity. That was a major problem, because Unity does not support any WebSockets stuff. So the only way you could do that was to work with Photon, which is basically an app that charges you a lot eventually in the long run. And it was really a bad idea. And basically all the big companies do that. So I ended up making a wrapper that basically like a small library that basically allows Unity to work with WebSockets. And I basically got the lobby chat working in my game for free, mobile, whatever, cross-platform. I am planning to, maybe sell that as an asset, because the only other assets that are available are basically, Photon-based for Unity. So that's it from this perspective. From the Hive building perspective, I'm working with Denser. I'm trying right now. It's not really trying. I'll get it done. It's just I'm adapting it so that it can work with any Hive engine token, because I don't know when VSE is gonna work. Actually, Tech Coder is here. Just like probably I'll address it to him if he's interested in talking. What's happening with the node issues, solved or not solved? I believe that the RAM.
Yeah, I can't speak much on Magi's behalf right now. Currently, the network hasn't been like very very functional, because there's some issues with the nodes that Vortex needs to look at. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this issue has been coming from early December, right? So now we're close to solving it.
It is this for this particular one, it has been occurring since, I don't know, 3 days ago.
That's a RAM issue, right?
Yeah, it's a different issue.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I personally have no idea what's causing this. So that's not on me. That's on Vaultec.
That's fine. Like, I'm not putting it on anyone. It's
Yeah.
like you work there, so I thought you might have to give us more.
I'm actually not. I'm actually not officially the in the team or anything. I'm just a contributor, and I only work on the Magi blocks, and I submit a bunch of PRs and stuff. So I'm technically not part of the team, and they do not pay me anything for this.
Thank you for the context.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you were part of the team, but you're not. So that's great.
Yeah,
you just had more information than me.
Yeah, I'm actually not part of the team.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. Sorry if you took offense at anything I said. I wasn't targeted. So I'm right now working with Denser, working on Denser, adapting it to work with Hive Engine, with any token on Hive Engine. So anyone can just make a front end with Denser, as long as they have a token, a curation token. So that's pretty much what I'm working on. Nothing else from my side.
Okay, anyone else? If not, we'll call it a day.
Hey, I have a question about the Google Drive signer integration. I have no idea what to call it. Is that the encrypted keys are stored in an application specific, I forgot what to call it, part of the Google Drive. So what are we expecting from third-party apps that integrate this form of authentication? Are we expecting them to connect or authorize through the off.dev.openhive.network, or are we expecting the apps to configure their own Google Cloud stuff themselves or something else?
So generally, keys are encrypted on Drive storage using some derived key from the password the user is selecting while performing setup. So this is a completely unknown factor for us. And of course, as currently in every wallet and password manager, it can be selected by user. Other two things which prevents from and increase security is storing such encrypted file on specific place in Drive storage, which is only accessible by selected application. And yes, to configure that, some service must be specified in Google configuration, matching application ID configured in variable. There is some description in specific to setup of Google configuration to point which parts must be configured, and I hope it is clear enough. Anyway, to associate given application to some services, their URLs must be specified in such configuration. So, for example, if you would like to deploy it to block OpenHive network, this URL should be specified there. Right now, it is available only on out OpenHive network because of testing services.
Okay.
And you can try it there. I hope when other guys will get back from Christmas break, they will start integrating it into denser code, and then using this wallet will be also available there. But if you would like to deploy it at your site, you probably should look into Wax package documentation, where should be described procedure how to configure your Google service account to support it, to support separate application which will be then associated to your customers' Drive access.
So in that case, there'll be like the user will have to import their keys on each application they would like to use, or
It depends because let's assume that we'd like to support our Drive wallet for all our friend services, let's say. We can associate given Google application ID to such URL. So, for example, assuming that Block OpenHive Network, Block Dev OpenHive Network, Out OpenHive Network, HiveBlock, and some other services are allowed to use our application. We just need to specify such URLs in configuration to allow accessing it, and of course also share such application ID to vendors of such services, because they need to configure it at server side. So in all other places, users will need just to, or vendors will need just to configure your own Google service, which has generated another application ID. And from the user perspective, they will have configured just separate wallet.
okay, that clears up my my doubts. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Anyway, I hope this idea much simplifies using Hive keys across multiple devices, and also avoid some security obstacles and problems because of such 3 points of which needs to be crossed to receive your keys. So everything is at client side, as I described in my article. So that's also quite small innovation that even we are trying to associate to some Google accounts to Hive. Only client side knows which Google account and Hive account matches, because there is such information never is pointed and sent to server side. It is only processed at client side. And also at client side, data are saved using Google Drive storage, but still only given account has access to them, never our services.
I guess my only security concern would be that the user will have to enter their private keys upon setup on each application that isn't like related to each other. Like,
But you are only entering some encryption password just to encrypt keys which next are stored on Google Drive. So this way we are avoiding to read data stored on Google Drive actually by Google, but no one else. Anyway, using this application scope on Google Drive, also direct end user is unable to read such data because only application has access to that. So I hope it is still secure enough to store as usually posting keys, because mostly probably only that part of keys will be saved as usually in web wallets and blogging application.
Okay, thanks.
If that topic is done, I have a quick question from Bartek. Bartek, do you think in the next 3 to 6 months we'll be able to get the MetaMask login working?
I hope it will be done together with adjusting Dancer to using Wax signer extensions, because once we add support just for this scheme there, all implemented extensions will be available there. So I hope it will be possible for some testing in January.
January. Okay, so if you do get it up for testing, could you share the API routes or whatever it is?
It will be done. If it will be done in develop, it will always be deployed to block.dev OpenHive network, because such deployments are processed automatically, and every developed build is pointing there.
Okay. Quick question: are you going to use Ethers.js to connect the MetaMask login to Denser, or what? Which package are you going to use to connect the MetaMask to the Denser login?
So we will use Wax extension, which is supporting that.
You're going to create the Wax extension, and then you're going to have the chain network ID there. Okay. So if you have anything in development, Bartek, that you wanna test, before production, please let me know, because I'm already working with Denser. So if you can provide me with the library, even if it's in a dev format, not production ready, that's fine. I can work with it, because that is something that is required for my project. So
okay.
Yeah. So if you need help with testing, that's fine.
Anyway, some initial set of changes specific to that are already merged into develop, but this is not yet complete set. Thanks to that, we were able to reduce dependencies of Dancer, and significantly also reduce download size, because it just was lowered by 7 megabytes of so critical amount of data. There is no more dHive dependency. Probably other libraries also dropped. So I hope it will be really possible to have some development version in January, which allows to select all available signers, which we are right now offering in Wax.
Okay, thank you. So who bangs the hammer? The meeting's end or anything like that? Did everyone leave?
I have a button.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you, everyone. See you next month.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you next month. Bye.